WTH.
What the hell?
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 This is the WTH, the WTH podcast.
Hold on to your butt.
Jason Casey, Kareem Daniels, and Nate Darling. From the Darling New Media Studios.
This is the WTH podcast.
Hello and welcome into another episode of the WTH podcast. Hi, my name's Nate. Thanks for joining us. A couple minutes late on the live stream. You know whose fault it is, Kareem? It's not Kareem's fault.
I was here hour early.
Kareem was here early tonight. It was not Kareem's fault. It was Smitty and Keith.
And Jason was on time tonight.
No, he wasn't.
What are you talking about? I was early. I was stuck in the lobby.
You weren't that early, my friend. I need to tilt my camera down, so I'll do that in a second. Hey, we have a special guest with us this week. We've referred to him on the show before as Sushi Brian. Hello, sir.
How's it going, guys? Great to be here.
It's going very well. I believe you have the rare honor of being the only person besides myself to listen to every episode of this podcast.
That is very true, right? I've been there since the very beginning.
Yes, sir. Over 800 episodes he's listened to. And honestly, I haven't listened to all of them back.
Me either.
Well, yeah, and it's funny. I saw an episode posted on Facebook, a reminder on Facebook, and Kareem was on the show in late 2011. So he's both Jason and Kareem have been on the show for quite a while, in some form or another. That shot is bothering me. Please hold. Talk amongst yourselves.
Whenever the host leaves, right, it's like talk amongst yourselves. And we're like, oh, what to do?
So how you been, Brian?
I've been doing well, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you virtually.
Likewise.
Yeah. I always hit you up online, for advice and information and stuff, so it's nice to be here.
Yeah. Is that your house?
No, this is the background I found in all of your honor.
Hey, congratulations on having a computer powerful enough to run that background, and it looks clean.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I'll show you my green screen in the back. Yeah, it's beautiful. Whatchamacallit? See, look at that.
There you go.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
That chair just disappears back there. I buy everything on Amazon, and up until recently, I think I was supporting the Nate Darling Show quite a bit with my Amazon purchases, man.
You were, and I saw you talking about stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was on the list. So much appreciated. Not to Amazon, because screw those guys.
That was a recent thing, huh, for you?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon's a dick, kind of. Let me see what happens if I do this. Can I do this? No, that didn't work. I don't have a green screen. So it's not like Zoom where you can just throw whatever you want behind you and it'll just go ahead and work. I like my this is an actual brick wall here, painted with these two hands and some rollers. So I'm happy with it. Whew. All right. So coming up on the show today. Hold on. Let me make sure I've got something set here, because yes. I don't know why that song's been in my head lately, but it just has. I don't know what the hell's going on. I've lost my mind is what's been going on.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hey, Kareem, can you check on Facebook to make sure we can hear something? Because my mother-in-law, although it might have been before we started the show, she posted this. I can't hear anything.
Yeah, no, it's fine now. I have it up on my phone.
Oh, there we go. I don't know.
Yeah,
all right.
At the beginning there was nothing.
Yeah, we were just late.
Yeah,
we were just late. So settle down.
They were just hanging out.
Yeah, well, and I had the screen up, so it just said live stream.
Oh, okay.
So there was no audio that went with that, but that's fine. So posted on Swell this week that we were going to try to do a show with no politics in it, and we would see how that went. Honestly, it's going better than you would think, considering that earlier today the President of the United States, said he wanted to go into the crowd and kiss men and pretty women, and I was like, what?
Man, I wish that ugly girl in the crowd's like, man, I'm so happy I'm ugly right now.
Well, here,
Steroids is kicking his ass.
it's like, hey, I'd like to come out there and sexually molest all of you in the crowd, and by the way, I swear I don't have a communicable disease at all.
At all.
No, nothing like that at all.
Because if he does not have it, that means he had it 2 weeks earlier than what he told everybody.
Or he never had it. It was all a scam. It was a ruse. It was a ruse. I don't care.
What was this, a tweet that he put out today? Is that what? How did he announce this? That he wanted to go out and kiss the people?
Oh no, he said that on stage at his rally in Florida.
Okay. All right.
But we
It's
have
fine, bro. It's totally
Yeah,
fine. There's nothing to see here, dude. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to see here. Before we get to all of we're not talking a lot about politics. We're having a little bit. I'm waving my hand around like that. We start with, what do you want to talk about, Kareem? Let's start with you.
I was debating whether I was going to talk about this or not, but it's a PSA. So Barbara had her nieces this weekend, and they went to the grocery store. And apparently there was an older gentleman in there who decided to take out his phone and take pictures of them. And he passed the girls, and he tried to grope them.
What?
Or graze. He didn't grope, he grazed.
Ah, the subway move.
Yes. So if you got teenage daughters or nieces, sisters, whatever, watch out for those creeps in the grocery store. And if I catch you doing it, I'm going to bust your ass.
All right, Jason, what do you want to talk about?
I mean, I want to talk about video games, but after that, like, it's a hardcore PSA, man.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
No, but man, I just can't tell you guys how much I enjoy this game, No Man's Sky. It is so much fun. It's cross-platform. You could almost say, in a way, it's like Minecraft if it had amazing graphics and it was more about traveling to different universes. Like, so many. Like, there's no way you could visit all the universes and all of the planets in the game. There's just too many. It's so awesome, dude. It's so awesome.
Nice.
I played like 80 hours of it in the last 2, maybe 3 months.
I thought you were going to say 2 to 3 weeks.
No. Come on, man. You hear the kid in the background, right?
I do, but they go to bed. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Eventually, they go to bed.
Eventually.
Brian, now's your chance. What do you want to talk about?
Oh man, I there's not much. You know, we've been locked up for so long. Can I ask a quick question? Is in your show opener with your audio, what the hell is Kareem the last? What the hell?
No.
Oh my God, that sounds just like Kareem, dude. So this whole time I wanted to know who the final what the hell was.
Let me just play it again so we can sort this out. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I will as soon as I hear it.
WTH.
What the hell?
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 Oh, that's a crazy homeless guy.
But see, that's not right. Doesn't that sound anyway? Okay,
It was something I found on YouTube.
Okay, well, that would be a hard no. Okay.
Yeah. Not Kareem.
Not much. I just wrote, this is first world problem. I when you order food nowadays, there's a lot of prepay. You do it online, you pay a credit card. And there's always a tip option in there, and you try to do the right thing and help these places out. You tip first, right? But then you get there, and you're already prepaid. So if everything's screwed up, it's kind of like they already got your money, so you feel kind of extra ripped off. That's not really a big problem, but it's on my mind.
No, it is. A tip should be at the end when you know what's happening. You should be able to go back.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think that would be a great innovation to be able to go back on whatever app you've ordered it on and do your tip after you get your food, just like you do when you go out to a restaurant. You don't tip at the beginning of the meal, unless it's one of those places where you go up to the counter and you have to tip before they give you anything.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, if I have to do more work than you do, you don't deserve a tip.
Because I DoorDashed lunch to some of my clients, and they didn't get all of the food, so I wasn't happy about that. But the other part about that is the person who picks up your food has no control over your food.
Correct.
Because the bag is sealed when they get it.
Correct.
So I've had numerous issues with DoorDash because that's who Walmart subs their groceries to. So all of our deliveries for our groceries come through DoorDash. We had a whole grocery order, like a big one, like $200 order, get delivered to the wrong house.
Nice.
The whole thing. It took me 2 days. A day, and then the next day to get everything fixed in hours on the phone. That being said, they had to stop. It used to be with DoorDash, you could tip before you got the order, and then you could change it at the end accordingly. However, what was happening right at the beginning of the pandemic, like the first month and a half, 2 months, people were putting on huge tips to entice drivers to come to their house first. And then they would change it at the very end to a nothing tip. So they had to stop it because it was happening so regularly. Just an FYI, because I was reading about shit like that. But because we've done nothing but that since this whole thing started. Everything has been delivered.
Yeah, I mean that's the challenge of dealing with delivery. I still prefer to go pick it up. Maybe that's just me, and I get why Jason doesn't go out or do anything like that. The last thing we got was from Chondo's, and I just prefer to go pick it up because then if there's an issue, I can sort of deal with it. Although it's sealed when you get it there too, so it's not like you're gonna know. But I feel for some reason like if I walk in, they're less likely to fuck with me.
That's possible.
I mean, I don't know if that's true. Kareem, pull that microphone a little closer to you if you would. Just want to get a little bit more out of your voice there. There we go. That's much better. So I have I want to talk about this. So Trump, and this is a brief Trump thing. We'll get to maybe more a little bit later on. Someone who has a Twitter handle of @bitch_updates said, "I love what COVID did to his brain. I didn't think it could get funnier." So here is the President of the United States calling in to Fox News.
Now, how did that happen? You've been talking about Regeneron. Eli Lilly and Regeneron.
Fox Business, I'm sorry. Fox Business.
Want FDA approval for emergency use at this point. Are they going to get it?
They're going to get it. Yeah, they're going to get it. I'm back because I'm a perfect physical specimen and I'm extremely young.
You are neither of those things.
Wow.
I mean, here's the thing about this guy. And I've been listening to Michael Cohen's podcast, Mea Culpa. I just listened to the episode with him and Omarosa. And they both have said and confirmed, and other people who've worked with him and for him over the years have confirmed, Donald Trump does not joke. He does not make jokes.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it were somebody else, you might go, oh, that was a joke. That had to be a joke. He doesn't joke. And normally his jokes are just terrible, terrible things he says, and then he goes, I was joking.
Yeah.
You know, like the dick in middle school who would like hit you in the nuts and throw your backpack in the mud and go, it was just a joke. It's just a joke.
I started listening to that podcast too. It's pretty good.
It's It's just a joke, you see.
When I was like 11, and the guy that was my next door neighbor had a ranch, and I went out on it, and he chased me around on his motorcycle, and then would turn around and squirt me with cow pies with his back tire, like as he chased me around.
Now that's funny.
I like how it's squirt, Jason. He said squirt.
It was pretty much like squirting on back. Like, yeah, it was. Man. It ruined like my favorite shirt that I had. Like, you got me so covered in cow shit that it ruined my shirt.
Look, man, I grew up on a dairy farm, so you getting cow shit on you once isn't really gonna tug at my heartstrings. Sorry. I'd love to tell you I feel bad about it, but I don't.
Yeah, Sissy Bryan's probably the only person that's gonna feel bad for you on that one, bro.
Yeah,
I was being bullied. Like it was, like, that was fun. You being bullied. No, it's cool, guys. Appreciate it. Totally like it's cool when Jason's bullied.
Hey, try
your kids.
Try having your brothers put you on a horse at 7 and slapping it on the ass with no saddle.
You're learning a skill there. There's no skill.
There's no skill. No, you're not learning a skill you're holding on for dear life.
Your skill should be to duck.
Oh, I was trying, but I have asthma, bro. This is back when I didn't even like. Come on, man. I'm an asthmatic kid having an asthma attack and getting chased by a guy on a motorcycle.
Holy shit!
No, that's cool. That's hilarious. Man, Nevada's so. He's one of my friends on my friends list. Check him out.
Okay, I want everybody who has access to a device right now who's listening to my voice and isn't driving. I would like you to, because right now, Chris Berman, ESPN's Chris Berman, is trending in the USA. And my first thought whenever anybody old and white is trending is there's two things. One, what racist thing did they say? Or two, are they dead? Thankfully, it was neither. But Chris Berman went on Monday Night Football at halftime, and he looks like his hair looks like Donald Trump's would if he didn't put it up.
Yeah,
same color. There's no business in the front because there's no hair there, but it's a really sad party in the back. So it's not really a mullet. There's no business.
Where the hell has Chris been?
Dyeing his hair with the home kit.
And he's the same color as Trump.
That is the same coloring as Trump. Absolutely 1,000% the same coloring as Donald Trump. It is absolutely positively amazing. You just found it, Jason?
Yeah. He looks like Grammar, man. Frazier. He looks like Frazier, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man. Definitely. Like you're like, you know what? I'm gonna write off $70,000.
Oh boy!
Now he can write off $70,000.
Oh my God! I just want to say something. I want to go to the vice presidential debate just briefly, since you mentioned write-offs. Kamala Harris brought up Trump's taxes and paying $750, and Mike Pence's argument was that Donald Trump has paid a lot in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. Sales taxes. Every time he buys something, he pays a tax.
Right? It's just like, what the hell has happened here? What?
He's had to pay DMV fees on his vehicles, on his limos.
Yeah, it was absolutely mind blowing that's where you're gonna go with this. I'm like, okay, I see you.
My sister, who won't have anything to do with my dad, she's a Trump supporter, and my dad's a Trump supporter, obviously. But it's so funny that like a guy so much like her dad, who she hates, she would vote for. You know, like she just doesn't see it, dude. Like my dad used to always brag, like it's hard. My tax person has a hard time because I pay nothing in taxes every year because I'm a good business. He writes everything off to personal business, like everything.
Yeah,
and he's proud of that. Like I don't know, it's crazy, dude.
Now, Brian, you used to be a business owner.
Absolutely.
And you paid. So let me clarify payroll tax. As a business owner, how much tax are you paying on payroll? Or is that all stuff that's taken out of the employee's check?
There is, it's almost kind of like a 50-50, but yeah, most of it is actually taken out of your check, right? If you're a regular W-2 employee, but we do match it as a business owner to a certain degree, you know, the unemployment and stuff like that. But yeah, that's not like paying taxes. I mean, you know what I mean? Income tax. I mean, you kidding me? You get
having a business.
Yeah, you get tax on everything as a business owner, especially in California. There's personal property tax too. Once you build out your business, you're paying a tax on that every year, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I got a call from the county a couple of weeks ago, and they were wanting to know what we built out here, and I said, nothing that I can't take home with me at night.
That's right. That's right.
Nothing that I can't take, and that's a fact. I could literally take everything home with me at night if I had a big enough truck.
Yeah.
Right.
It would all go in. I mean, the desks don't count. The stuff on the wall can come off. Easy enough. I could throw that in the back of a pickup and drive home if I had to. And they said, you know what? Great. We'll note that. We'll call you in 2 years. Fantastic.
It seems crazy too, because you would think you'd want to incentivize business owners to improve an area, right? To build out nicer businesses and stuff like that. But they just keep making you pay for it year after year. It's crazy.
Well, here's the real question. I don't own this space. Why are you coming at me?
Exactly.
Why are you coming at me, bro?
Exactly.
Because why am I paying property tax on what's not my property?
Yeah.
Oh, for the same reason I have to buy insurance from Jason. Son of a bitch! They get you coming and going.
In a way, I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that commercial property is not taxed in the first place in the state of California the way it should
what?
be. Yep. I mean, like, that's why they have these types of these things that they assess your portion of it, because the property owners, right? They don't. I don't know, man.
Is it taxed at a lower rate than residential? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah, it's stuck at whatever they originally bought it at. The commercial lot itself, back in the day, from the 70s. Like, so it was funny. We were watching the Cal Matters prop stuff that they've been doing. It was like nonpartisan explanation of all the propositions, and they did 15. And there's people that were in the comments saying, I voted on Prop 13. I didn't realize that included commercial properties when they were sheltering, you know, the increases in taxes. So places like golf clubs and like Beverly Hills and stuff like that, and all these Disneyland, they're paying property tax. It's like 0.5% of what they bought it for originally back in the 50s, 40s when it was nothing. So we're subsidizing these places, and they don't have parks because they're taken up by these things, and the California citizens are subsidizing it. It's ridiculous. There's a podcast Malcolm Gladwell did on it called Revisionist History, a good walk gone bad, talking about it. Bob Hope was a huge pusher of this. Californians trusted him, but they snuck in this commercial thing. So that's why you see, like on your lease, you'll see sometimes 5 different LLCs listed as the property owners, because they've sheltered it so many different ways and traded it so many different ways to maintain those property taxes back in the day. But they're going to tell you that it's going to increase your taxes because they're going to now tax the improvements on properties and things like that properly. But there's so many people that are in leases because of the failure to tax that will get screwed. You know what I mean? So they've fucked. They're saying they're going to fuck small business owners, but really the small strip malls, there's a $3 million limit that they have to hit. And then there's a $500,000 break that they're giving for all improvements to the property in the first place. So $3 million, $500,000 in tax breaks. After that, you know, then you're paying taxes on it. But it's one of those things that a lot of people didn't realize had snuck in there. And we have, when it comes to this, the lowest of any like big state for commercial properties, like the lowest tax rate, like that, 100%.
Interesting.
It's ridiculous.
By interesting, I mean, come back, everyone. Come back. Wake up. Sorry,
guys.
No, I let you go. It's my fault. Speaking of places,
that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, speaking of places that don't pay taxes, let's talk about church. A Louisiana priest was arrested for allegedly filming himself having sex with 2 dominatrices on the altar at his Catholic church.
Woohoo!
The priest, identified by NOLA.com as the Reverend Travis Clark, was busted after a passerby saw the lights on later than usual on September 30th and peeked inside Saints Peter and Paul Roman Catholic Church in Pearl River. The unidentified witness saw the half-naked priest having sex with the 2 women who were dressed in corsets and high-heeled boots. Now, to be fair, if they were real dominatrices, they wouldn't have been having sex, because that's not what they do. The altar was also adorned with stage lighting, several sex toys, and a cell phone mounted on a tripod that was recording the act. The witness took video footage of the unholy trinity and then called police. Hold on, I'm going to call police, but first, let me get some video. Cops arrested Clark along with his 2 altar servers, 41-year-old Mindy Dixon and 23-year-old Melissa Chang, and booked them on obscenity charges. The women reportedly told cops they were at the church to film role play with the priest. The cops determined that everything that went on that night was consensual, but arrested the trio on obscenity charges because they were in view of the public. So if you're going to fuck on the altar, lock the front door. Lock the front door.
Who called the police?
Or shade on the window, I guess. That's what it is.
Yeah,
the sock on the door.
Hey, look, Nate, organized religion is clearly going down nowadays. You've seen all the reports, right? So these
so
guys,
to speak.
They took it upon going down. They took it upon themselves to get, more viewership, and, you got to hand it to them, man. They took initiative,
Yeah, apparently the altar has been burned and a new one is going to be consecrated on Saturday. Just FYI.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, my.
It's been pulled and burned.
Oh, my.
Yep.
Well.
It's all gone. So it's not even a tourist attraction at this point. All right, so we're all on Zoom a lot more lately, and including a Pennsylvania professor. Look at this guy, Kareem. Doesn't he look like a university professor?
Yeah, he does.
He's not anymore because he was caught on video repeatedly using the N-word during an online course.
Okay.
Not randomly. He was teaching a course, just dropping N-bombs. The video posted to Twitter showed Duquesne University education professor Gary Shank using the racial slur at least 3 times during a September 9th Zoom session of his educational psychology course on child and adolescent development.
What the hell?
What?
Yeah. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, yeah, hold on.
Okay. That's when I was a young man. All right. That was a very commonly used word. You know what Brazil nuts are, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. When I was a kid, people called
Don't
them
do it. Don't do it.
Could we do that nowadays?
No!
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Wait.
When I had a little extra money.
What? Was that news to you? You didn't know that that's what people call Brazil nuts?
Never heard that in my life.
I did not know that.
Never heard that in my life.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Kareem, you didn't grow up around enough white people.
No, because they had enough sense not to say it.
I never heard of that.
I have heard. Jason, have you heard that term? Yeah, Jason and I have.
And not even by the method of family that I would say were racist.
No, it was just. I'm like, as soon as he started, I'm like, "What are you doing?"
What in the actual fuck?
Even though he was making a point that that's what people used to make that statement. You're a college professor. You got to know better than that.
Oh yeah.
I think when my grandfather told me that was another name for them, he was telling it to me like they don't call them these anymore. Like that's we call these Brazil nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody should slap your grandpa in the face with his dick. With a dick.
And I was spending it extravagantly. Somebody might say I was nigger rich.
So he goes again with another term. No. No.
Okay. Would we do that today? No. If I was...
Oh, God. Yeah.
He did it because he was on Zoom.
This dude is not that old, man. I mean, he's not that old.
No, he looks to be late 50s.
He did it because he was in Zoom and nobody could get to him.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
He argued his usage of the slur was okay since it was being used in an educational setting. He'd previously been placed on paid leave pending an investigation. If it said, "I'm giving you permission to use the word okay," Shank said on the clip, "because we're using the word in a pedagogical sense. What's the one word about race that we're not allowed to use?" Look, there's ways to use it in an open conversation. This is not it.
Again, he did it because he was on Zoom and nobody could slap the shit out of him. That's why he did it.
Entirely possible. I can't rule it out. I found this very interesting. A corrections officers have been subjecting inmates to inhuman discipline by blasting the children's song "Baby Shark" on a loop at an Oklahoma jail. It's according to a prosecutor. Jason knows it.
Oh, yeah.
In a misdemeanor criminal information filed, 2 former Oklahoma County detention officers and their supervisor were each charged with conspiracy and multiple counts of cruelty to an inmate. As alleged in court records, former jailers Christian Miles and Gregory Butler, both 21, and Christopher Hendershot, a 50-year-old lieutenant, abused 4 male inmates by handcuffing them to a wall in a standing position for extended periods of time, while at the same time playing Baby Shark loudly. I don't think it was just the Baby Shark.
No.
Just saying. The alleged cruelty occurred late last year at the county lockup in Oklahoma City. Investigators charged the defendants would place an inmate in an attorney visitation room from which the furniture had been removed. The inmate would be handcuffed behind his back and secured to a wall, where he was forced to stand for around 2 hours. Then Baby Shark would be played on a continuous loop from a computer adjacent to a visitation room. None of the inmates appeared to be combative, according to the affidavit. The investigators learned of the irregular activities at the jail. One of them confessed in an interview that he and Butler systematically worked together to discipline inmates and teach them a lesson because they felt disciplinary action within the detention center was not working in correcting the behavior of the inmates.
That is some MK Ultra shit.
It's yeah, that's some weird stuff. We posted on Swell what would be your song that would be terrible to hear on a loop. Now, I don't have my phone with me because I was rushing around to get everything ready for the show tonight. Either way, check out our Swellcast to get some of the answers. There was one really great one that I wouldn't be able to play on the show anyway because he included the music in his Swell. I mean, he did it really, really well. But if we played that, we'd get pulled off of YouTube because of the copyright rules. So...
well, mine is "I Believe I Could Fly" because my nephew sang it. Actually, my godson sang it for a talent show. And so I had to hear that shit over and over and over and over.
Yeah. Brian, what's yours?
I don't know. Maybe anything by Justin Bieber, but I don't know. Nothing specific. Nothing specific.
Jason?
Are we not allowed to love R. Kelly songs anymore because it's R. Kelly, or what's the deal with that? I mean, you know, like we used to like those jams back in the day.
I think you can, but you have to actually do it in a closet.
Yeah.
You got to do it on ear. Yeah, got to have the earbuds in and don't let anybody know.
Yeah.
For me, I think I mentioned on the Swell that it was like the chicken dance or the cha-cha slide, like any of that stuff that's like the wedding stuff that's like, I'm just not down, man. I just don't want to hear it ever again in my life. Those, and then I was just thinking about it. He mentioned the musical thing, Grease. Anything from Grease, like
hey, watch that.
Growing up in the theater community and having dated plenty of actresses and like just that's. I'm done with Grease, dude. I don't want to. I'm hoping that my kids never get like they skip that that one section of musical theory.
When your daughter gets 10, I'm going to send her the soundtrack.
No, intercepted.
I'm going to give it to her as a birthday present.
Oh, you're not going to see it.
Kareem, the way you have to sneak it is in a stuffed animal with it in like a playable part.
Yes.
So it's programmed in. If you're going to do it, that's how you have to do it.
Ooh, I wonder if we can get one of those at Build-A-Bear. We can just get it programmed into this bear.
No, absolutely not.
We'll see.
There's licensing issues there.
Well, if you can record your own, that's what I'm saying. For me, it is Cotton Eye Joe by Rednecks.
Good.
Always has been, always will be since the mid '90s.
Oh my God,
that is the worst.
The El Dorado Saloon.
Oh my God, that is the worst. The absolute fucking worst. My favorite was one lady left a swell, and you have to listen to it and hear it. So again, follow us on Swell. Download the Swell app, and it's at WTH Podcast. And we put a question up every week, and also we put this show up as well, so people can listen there. She said it was the Blues. So this will be really unpopular, but the Blues. And I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, you know what? The Blues are, by definition, really depressing. So I guess I can sort of see that.
Yeah, no.
I need something uplifting. Not don't worry, be happy, but something uplifting.
He doesn't have a soul.
All right, let's do this.
I'll eat your ass.
Oh, not that. Okay, let's do it again.
I'll eat your ass first.
There we go. Okay, how about this?
Cool, buddy.
All right, first up in Cooler Tool, finding multiple uses for a space. Kareem.
Cool.
Jason.
Oh, cool.
Brian.
You got to be innovative. Cool, man, all the way.
Yeah, just got to know where you are going to have. You got to know when to have a closed set.
Yes.
Closed set is the magical word. Up next in Cooler Tool, Zoom lectures. Jason.
Oh, I mean, cool.
Brian, what say you?
They're cool except when I see the top of my head and see how much hair I'm losing.
Kareem.
I'm going to say Tool because I've been on a couple and I wasn't happy.
I'm going Tool StreamYard. StreamYard is the way to go. It's where you'll find the WTH podcast. StreamYard. Fuck Zoom. And finally in Cooler Tool.
Oh, wow.
Musical punishments. Brian.
I thought it was the greatest idea ever. I loved it.
Kareem.
I'm listening to a podcast called Brainwashed. And when I say that's some MK Ultra shit, I'm going to say it's a tool to the highest of toolstivity.
Jason.
Yeah, it's Tool, bro.
It's absolutely Tool. You're taking what should be bringing people joy and bringing them misery. The only exception is a Central American dictator that you're trying to get out of his palace or embassy where he's holed up. Then have at. That's all I'm saying. It's going to do it for Cooler Tool. And done.
Don't worry, Brian. There's always one of us that's stuff out there by himself.
Hey, I think it's great, man. I mean, how are you going to punish somebody in prison, man? You're going to send them to jail? They're already there. What are you going to do?
It's interesting, but I think that falls under cruel and unusual punishment.
I'm going to send you this podcast, Brian.
All right, I'll check it out.
I'm going to introduce you to the guys from the Crop Organization, and they can educate you on restorative justice.
Okay.
Yeah. As they are all former inmates, and
oh yeah, that's right.
I guarantee would have very strong feelings about that. I guarantee it. All right, we're going to talk a little bit of politics, but we're going to ease into it with Shaquille. That's right, with Shaquille O'Neal.
Just a tip.
You gotta ease in with Shaq, because Shaq's 7 foot tall, 300 pounds, and that's just his penis.
I've never voted before, America. But now I'm doing all these voting campaigns, and one thing I never like to do is be a hypocrite. So the other day, I got my absentee ballot. And for those who don't think I know what absentee ballot is, okay, you get it. They have the little thing for your county, and you mark in the thing. They tell you not to use a check or an X. You have to color it in, like using the Scantron. And before you mail it back, you have to rip the top of the thing off the back. You have to sign it. You have to sign another envelope, put another side of the envelope. In other words, America, I voted for the first time, and it feels good. Thank you. This message was paid for and approved by Dr. Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay. By the way, that is the least mumbly I have ever heard Shaq in my life.
Wow.
Again, somebody else who should be slapped upside the head with a dick.
Why? Because he's never voted before?
Because he's never voted before.
That's true. Speaking of campaigning, Kanye West said, forget the campaign, but buy my campaign merch. He's laser focused on making money off the 2020 Vision merch. He unveiled a collection that included $60 hats and $160 hoodies. While the legit VP candidates were debating, the items included messages like "Vote Kanye" and "God Save America." He's not completely ignoring his actual campaign, though. He also listed a brief summary of his presidential platform. Among other things, he said he wants to restore prayer in classrooms, reduce household and student loan debt, work on equality in the criminal justice system, and take care of the environment. Much like Donald Trump, he doesn't go into any detail about how he'd accomplish these things, but that's pretty common. By the way, prayer in school. No. Nope. No. I went to Catholic school. We prayed in school. Do you know when we prayed in school, Kareem?
For bills.
During religion class. And if we went to church, we didn't sit around and pray at the front end of biology class. That did not happen.
You should pray.
Fuck that.
In front of every class.
It'd save the world, Nate, if we all just started praying more.
Uh-huh.
Is he on it? What is he? Is he running as an independent legitimately? Or
Mhm.
wow.
He's running on our as a VP in California with. Hold on, let me get my ballot real quick.
God, I really didn't. I didn't think that was a thing. Man.
Yeah, and there are several states where the Republicans have been got out to try and get his name on the ballot. In several states, it did not work. So there's this other third party where they have added him as the VP candidate because
Rocky De La Fuente Guerra, and then Kanye Mary West, American Independent is how he's running. So he found somebody to take him on as a VP.
So he was endorsing Trump back in the beginning, right? And then he kind of flipped.
He hasn't flipped anything. He said he's actually admitted he's doing this to try and pull votes from Joe Biden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, Kareem, I have some good news for you about you going to South Carolina, and it's directly from Senator Lindsey Graham.
I care about everybody. If you're a young African American, an immigrant, you can go anywhere in this state. You just need to be conservative, not liberal.
There you go.
There you go.
What the fuck?
He's being honest, bro.
He was being honest, man.
He's being honest.
Uh-huh.
But look, the police don't know that you're not conservative until, they finish whooping your ass.
Well, you better have your Trump 2020 hat. What's going on?
What the fuck is wrong? I am so glad. Look, everybody who's given Jamie Harrison money, thank you. And hopefully we'll get that bastard out of office.
Yeah.
You might want to give some money to McGrath, too, because she's not got as much money as Jamie did, but Jamie's got a shitload of money.
Yeah, it's flip the Senate would be nice. So Pete Buttigieg, who when he was running for president caught a lot of flack for going on Fox News, he's been on Fox News again, and of course the anchors think they're really clever when they ask him questions. But here's the thing about Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete is a Rhodes Scholar. Mayor Pete is smarter than the people who sit and read a teleprompter for a living. Listen to the awkward pause after Mayor Pete handles their question.
You give us some insight into what she might say to justify why she was for Medicare for all then and is not for it now, for example.
Well, there's a classic parlor game of trying to find a little bit of daylight between running mates. And if people want to play that game, we could look into why an evangelical Christian like Mike Pence wants to be on a ticket with the president caught with a porn star, or how he feels about the immigration policy that he called unconstitutional before he decided to team up with Donald Trump. If folks want to play that game, we could do it all night. But I think what most Americans want to hear about is, are our families going to be better protected than they have been by this president who's failed to secure America in the face of one of the most dangerous things ever to happen to our country?
Will the
Oh my goodness. For your next Audible book, it was All Alive by Stuart Stevens, and he breaks down how the Republican Party, their whole platform is bullshit, and they know it's bullshit.
Well, their whole platform now is whatever Donald Trump wants. They admitted that.
Yeah, but he's been a Republican operative since the 70s, and he says the whole thing is a lie.
Yeah.
So listen to it. Check it out.
You know, I don't know how much more I can take. I'm trying to get through Woodward's book now. It's just really a lot to just constantly be listening to that. All right, just one last political thing, and then we'll move on. I've tried to keep them quick because, well, you know, we went on a lot about them last time. This is the president, again, calling the Fox News channel. He's got some pretty outrageous claims.
Nobody talks about life anymore. Pro-life. Is he pro-life? No, he's not pro-life. You know, what?
No one talks about life anymore. You know, is he pro-life? He's pro-life. Hey, by the way, just FYI, the cocktail that, quote-unquote, cured Donald Trump, remdesivir, is made from stem cells from feti. Feti. Or is it fetuses? Anyway, so how about that, all you pro-lifers? How about that, all you life begins at insemination folk? Your president is with us today because he took the remnants of a baby.
That must be what they be talking about when they were saying they are still in the essence of babies.
Well, it's not. That's QAnon bullshit. But anyway, here we go.
And Biden does that. Nobody talks about life anymore. Pro-life. Is he pro-life? No, he's not pro-life. You know, what is he? Why don't you ask him that question? He doesn't want to talk about it. But he endorsed a governor of Virginia who not only executed a baby, late-term abortion, but executed a baby because said the baby can be born and then you can kill the baby.
What the fuck?
He executed a baby.
A baby.
I want to eat that baby.
I was like, was that Austin Powers?
He ain't right.
Was that Fat Bastard? Did he just do Fat Bastard on Fox?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not going to go there because that would be unkind. So I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's.
I was getting ready for him to break into. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back.
He's endorsed a governor who executed a baby.
Chile's baby back, baby.
I
heard they fall off the bone.
I just can't. I just can't.
It's ridiculous, right?
Before we leave the thought of politics, in California, the Secretary of State has sent a cease and desist letter to the California Republican Party, as well as Republican. I believe Republican. I want to get it right. Republican organizations like of Fresno County, et cetera, because they have been putting up ballot boxes that are unofficial ballot boxes in various places.
In front of churches?
And so it's, I want to find this exactly so I can talk about it properly. But it is, let me go back here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, they've set up fake ballot drop boxes that they're promoting on social media all over. So the Secretary of State had to send out a cease and desist letter. They're going to ignore it. They've said they're going to ignore the cease and desist letter.
I hope they walk the whole goddamn church.
Well, here's why it's a problem. And someone wrote about this on Twitter, and I asked her this. I said, "Is it just me, or do you think the California GOP is doing this so the state will send cops in to remove the fake ballot boxes, and they'll have video for Fox News to play and claim California is stealing ballots in Republican areas of their state?" I think that's what this is about. We're not going to follow the cease and desist order. So go ahead and do something about it. When you do, there'll be video. It'll be played on a loop on Fox News. It'll be part of that bullshit narrative that Trump has been peddling. He earlier today tweeted that New York, California, and Illinois are going to hell. Vote Trump. That was 3 separate tweets this morning.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I thought it was more like the Republicans are putting them up in Democratic areas, and they wanted Democrats to place their votes in there, and they would just trash them, you know what I mean, and not have those votes counted. But I was wondering what was the point.
Well, there can be 2 points. One can be to steal ballots and go through it and go, oh, well, this one doesn't have Trump on it, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or it can be to try and force the hand of the state to do something so that you have your out-of-context propaganda film to play on Fox News and in your ads. That's, I mean, I can't think, there's only 2 reasons I can think to do it. Either way, it's a federal crime to tamper with an election.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
well, they're the ones who seem bent on doing it. So
yeah.
I apologize. I had to take that phone call.
Oh, I thought you were putting up fake ballot boxes.
I mean, Jason, what are you doing?
Yeah.
People waited in line for 10 hours a day in Georgia to vote. Because they closed down polling places.
Yeah, it's a crazy time out there. Colin Kaepernick back in the news. By the way, the way the 49ers played yesterday, I'm almost ready to have him come back, but I'm always seeing those past Facebook statuses where I talk about how shitty a quarterback he is.
Well, Jimmy G didn't shit.
No, I know. Kareem, I need you to pick that microphone up. It keeps falling down on me. No, Jimmy G was shit. Jimmy G was shit. It was just a no-go. Yes, I'm going to mute him while he adjusts that. Everything, but I can go back to when Colin Kaepernick was playing and point out my Facebook post showing my frustration with his god-awful play at quarterback. It had nothing to do with him taking a knee. He just wasn't very good. Anyway, this has nothing to do with his ability or lack thereof as a football player. He is calling for the abolition of police, saying it has roots in white supremacy. He said last Wednesday, in order to eradicate the anti-blackness, we must also abolish the police. The ex-NFL player spelled out his wishes for the country in a pointed essay, claiming the current U.S. police system has roots in white supremacy and anti-blackness. Kaepernick says, based on his research, he believes the central intent of cops is to surveil, terrorize, capture, and kill marginalized population, specifically black folks. And he says the only way to stop that is to tear down the entire system. The 32-year-old says simpler solutions like police reforms just don't work. Fuck reform, he added. Reforms have done nothing to stop the actions that force us to hashtag say their names. Kaepernick is also urging the end of the country's prison system, saying it too has roots based in racism, adding abolition is the only way to secure a future beyond anti-black institutions of social control, violence, and premature death. Collins says once the systems are dismantled, he wants to see funding reinvested directly into communities to address mental health needs, homelessness, and houselessness, access to education and job creation, as well as community-based methods of accountability. He added, "This is the future that centers the needs of the people, a future that will make us safer, healthier, and truly free." Well, we all know this isn't going to happen.
True.
But what do we think?
Well, he's correct.
I say he's not lying.
I mean,
no, I didn't say he was.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that you start out with "we need to abolish the police." You're not going anywhere with that argument.
No, but I mean, the police. Our police was based off of slave catchers, so I mean that's where our policing in America starts, pretty much. Slave catchers, and systematically the police has been used throughout American history for that purpose. So from the time you freed the slaves, you created laws like trespass and vagrancy in order to do convict leasing, which was you would arrest black people for bullshit reasons. That's the only reason you have those laws. You could arrest black people for those reasons, and then you would lease them back to the state or the government as pretty much as slaves. And it was actually worse than slavery because the government didn't have the people that leased them from the government they weren't their property anymore, so they didn't care about whether they kept them alive or healthy or anything.
Right.
They just worked them to death and was like, okay, send me some more. And then up through the Klan, half of those people were sheriffs, police, throughout the Klan, up to the FBI and the COINTELPRO, which they actually used to surveil, try to talk Martin Luther King into killing himself. Actually probably did kill Malcolm X, and amongst others. So historically he's correct. But the other part of that is people that bring up the crime bill with Biden, black people supported it because black people want to save communities too. But the problem is in policing culture. It's this thing that I always say about white people. Most white people don't know any black people.
That's true.
Like none.
No, I mean, really, actually, no. Not like there's a black guy I say hey to.
Yeah, most white people don't know any black people. And white people that actually do know black people that are like me, they don't consider us black, so they don't. So that doesn't change their view on black people. And then white people that do encounter a lot of black people is usually because they're working in the system. And so all of the black people they encounter are black people that are in the system, whether it be welfare or the judicial system. And so they lump all black people into that category of those people.
Yeah, I mean, if you run into any category of people where all you run across is the worst cross-section of that population, you're going to have a really bad view of them.
Yeah, and then you never get to it never changes the narrative. Right. And even with like black people and the cultural representation, it's the same thing, because you run into the same thing with amongst black people. It's like, oh, you're not being black. Like, yeah, actually I am. Most of the people that that most of my family don't act like people that they show you on television.
Right. No one says dynamite.
Nobody says dynamite at all. You got some that act a little crazy. You get a little nip in you, and they go off the rails a little bit. But nobody's acting like that.
So, serious question: do you think that reality television has hurt the image of the successful African American?
It has, because reality television. So everybody wants to think that these people have this great life that's totally different than theirs.
Yeah, I'm thinking like specifically like Real Housewives of blank, or Basketball Wives, or Wags, or something like that.
Yeah, so they want the idea is everybody wants to think that these people have a way much better life than they have. But the people that actually run the shows, their whole purpose is to make these people act like fools. in the process of the show so that they get ratings and attention. And that's not how they normally conduct themselves. You know, like that's not what you're really doing.
That just occurred to me because I mean that's the whole point of reality TV anyway. And watching this season of Big Brother, there were 3 African Americans in this season's cast of Big Brother, and they spoke specifically about trying to be different, trying to not have that image of what people want them to be and what they want them to do. Now they kind of failed, because they did do that. I mean, they're in a high pressure situation. You're a house full of people. There's all of these things that you're doing. You're going to have all of your buttons pushed.
Yeah,
to the point where you're going to do something.
Yeah, like I showed back when Becca and Ted were still on the podcast. I sent them a video of Hollywood Shuffle, and in the video it shows it's a parody of the way people have to go for acting parts, and all of the parts that they get. And it's like a white dude trying to tell black people how to act black in order to get the part in the movie.
For instance, Danny Bonaducci's dad was, I believe, the head writer on Good Times.
Oh.
just to completely follow through on that. Even these black sitcoms of the 70s, the writers were mostly white guys.
Yeah. And Michael Evans, who played Lionel on The Jeffersons, he was actually the person who created that show, Good Times. And the problem that Norman Lear had with him was he wanted these characters to be just regular people, and Norman Lear was like, they're not black enough. That's how you got Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Yeah, that's how you got that. And so he would, because Norman Lear even says
sold a ton of t-shirts.
In his book that he had to punch up the show after he would get the scripts from him and he would have to punch them up. Like, yeah, because you wanted them to act like niggas as opposed to just being regular people.
Yeah, it was very interesting. That was sort of a sidetrack thing that came to that, but I was like, you know what? I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm curious because the whole point of reality TV is to act a fool.
Yeah,
and there's tons of white people acting a fool on reality TV. That does not do anything to damage my image as a person or Jason's image as a person, or I mean, I guess if you look and sound like the specifically women, if you look and sound like them, it's probably going to have a bit of an impact upon you.
Yeah, but it's what because there's a black woman that started the she didn't start it, but she didn't do the Housewives. She did Basketball Wives.
Right.
And one of the complaints was that's how she wanted them to act. That was the whole deal. And it's like, man, come on, like you just can't let people be people. I mean, you occasionally have some stuff like that happen, but you don't have it like every week.
Well, I mean, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the way they act is awful at a lot of times. That does not have an impact upon how people view white women.
Yeah.
I mean, except maybe Michael Che and Bill Burr.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, even with especially Asian Americans, I mean, that's a big thing too. We're not really represented in the media at all, right, compared to other ethnic backgrounds. And when it is, if I'm trying out for roles, it's going to be, well, you've seen that viral video, Uncle Roger making the fried rice. Have you seen that one? Have you guys seen that? Oh, okay. You haven't seen it. Okay. Anyway, he's the typical Asian dude, and he has to make this accent. He's like, oh, and he's making fried rice. So. And it's funny because he doesn't really talk like that. But to your point, Nate, to be out there in that public eye, whether it's in the media, whether it's movies or TV, you do have to sensationalize and kind of really exaggerate that stereotype, right? Because that's what people are expecting, especially from like Asian Americans, right? If I just come out and be a normal guy, it's not TV worthy, right? No one's going to watch that. So I do agree. I think it hurts an image because people. That's what they see, and that becomes their reality because they don't know anybody in person, in real life.
Jason, I think we've stumbled upon another instance of very provable White privilege. In case you were unaware of what that was, that is an example of white privilege. Look, now that I get it, I want to point it out because for so long it's really hard for white people to wrap their head around it. What it is, why it's important, where it falls in. And Brian is right. BD Wong shouldn't play every Asian guy on TV, but he does.
There's a handful, right? Yeah, you're right.
BD Wong, Ken Jeong, and other names that rhyme. I mean, that's what we get.
Well, I saw that's in like American TV and movies. Like I saw like Asian Americans are the most underrepresented of any minority, like comparative to like what their population is in the country. It's nuts. It's nuts. Like I mean, what Diana was talking about it with Mulan, right? How she was so excited, like kind of for that, and then the more she found out about it, she just got more and more upset, like sad and depressed.
Let me see.
I was going to say it's tough too, Nate, when you use the word white privilege. That privilege, you know, I recognize it in myself. Even when Kareem, when you were talking about, you know, abolishing the police and stuff, and I'm sitting here going like, oh, are we supposed to abolish the police? The police has been no problem for me. I mean, you know what I mean? So I'm a part of that too. It's not part of my reality. I'm a model minority, right? I drive a little Honda Accord. I don't get pulled over. You know what I'm saying? I don't realize until I talk to my. I got a friend that I've been really close to, and he just tell me about his life. You know, he goes, man, I hate when people look at me and they're scared. That's what he said. You know, he's like a 6'2", big black dude, well built, and I go, yeah, I don't know if that's what no one ever looked at me. It's been scared of me. You know, so it was a really cool thing. You know,
and you should research why you're considered the model citizen, the model minority.
Well, there's a lot of history to that too, and a lot of it, especially, you know, and again, people say Asian, you know, API, Asian Pacific Islanders. Hey man, there's a big difference between me, Diana, you know what I mean? Like we're apples and oranges, man, when it comes to that. I mean, we get lumped together so we can get represented politically, so we have a little bigger base of people. Asians all together. But as far as Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, Laos, Hmong, I mean, we couldn't be more different, you know, so that's another tough thing too to reconcile with.
Yeah, there's a lot of that is just completely.
I used to work for the county Department of Senior and Adult Services, and so me and Nate grew up on the farm, and we grew up in rural areas. So where I grew up at, there was only black people and white people. So.
Where I grew up, there was only white people and one black guy, but he was one of the good ones.
That's why they let him stay.
Look, a number of people told me that.
So we had one Indian person in class in our school. We had one Puerto Rican girl, and we had a guy from Greece who was 15 and he was graduating. And that was like the cross-section of minorities that I dealt with up until I got out here. But being out here and working in the Department of Senior Adult Services, since they serve everybody in Sacramento, I got to learn the difference between because I would tell a joke about the diversity in Sacramento is that there are like 8 different types of Asian people in Sacramento. And if you don't actually sit down and talk to people, then you don't really know that. And then I would talk to them and then learn what not to ask each group or where each group came from and how to determine a Hmong name from a Min name. But you don't do that if you're not around those people and you don't sit down and actually chop it up with them.
No, I mean, I'd never even heard of Hmong until I got to Sacramento. I'm like, have I discovered a new form of Asian person?
Yep.
What's happening? And they're like, no. Yeah. This is a big. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just am completely ignorant to everything. So I take that back. We did have, because there was a family that had adopted a couple of girls from South Korea. So we did have that was the Asian contingent in my town, was the 2 South Korean girls that were adopted.
There you go.
Right. So that was it. That was a big thing in Vermont, where teams were adopting mostly girls from South Korea.
Yeah.
Which I think I think that probably falls into the category of the families in South Korea didn't necessarily want to keep the girls; they preferred the boys. So it was an unfortunate thing. You know,
do they have that one child thing like China does?
No, but I think it's and again, in Korea in the 70s and Korea today is two very different places. Just think about Samsung. I mean, just that. I mean,
my Tai Chi instructor was Korean, and he got sponsored by a white family in Texas to come to the States, and he lived with them. He lived with them like from his childhood through college.
Wow.
Yeah, so there were a variety of things like that, and at that point, in the 70s, China wasn't open to anything like that. So you didn't have the Dana Goulds of the world going to China to adopt kids.
Oh, and then the other thing was we didn't learn about the Japanese internment camps when I was a kid. Like I learned about that when I worked at the courthouse, and one of my coworkers there, her family had been in the internment camps, and her brother was an artist, and he did his art was based out of that experience, and so that was like a whole nother, eye-opening.
Yeah, I had heard about it, but in my history classes, I think that was like 10 minutes one day.
Yeah,
literally, that was 10 minutes one day. That in this country we had internment camps, and Japanese Americans in California, which other side of the country from where I was, were put in internment camps because we couldn't tell who was friendly and who wasn't.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, but you could with the Germans and the Italians. Come on.
Well, they brought the Germans back to help run MK Ultra and other CIA operations.
MK Ultra sounds like a stereo store. I'm just going to say it. All right, let's lighten things up, and because I think this is amazing. There was a bomb threat of sorts at the Home Depot.
Moments for customers at a Kansas Home Depot. Police responded to reports of a bomb threat at the store in Wichita. A customer alerted employees. A man inside the bathroom said there was a bomb in the building. Police were able to locate the man responsible for those comments, and that man told police he warned other guests to leave the restroom because he was, quote, fixing to blow it up, but had no intention of causing a panic. Man also told police others in the room laughed, understanding his joke, which I'm just now getting. Home Depot says they will not be pressing charges. But I can tell you right now, you asked the producer for me to read that, didn't you? To Ethan now, please.
No.
He was going to blow it up.
I'm fixing to blow it up.
Oh, man. What ethnicity was that guy? That'd be interesting.
Oh, he was in Kansas, so I'm gonna narrow it down for you.
He was fixing then. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He was fixing to blow it up. Although that does sound like something a black guy would say.
Yes.
I'm just saying that's why
that might have been a brother.
Yeah.
Say fixing or about to.
Oh man. And if you haven't seen the video, it's like a middle-aged Carol Brady looking white lady who's reading it. It is hilarious.
Yeah, it's amazing. Before we get out of here with small town news, I want to thank everybody who has been watching our live streams, all the people on Swell who've been participating in that. We do appreciate each and every one of you, whether you're watching us live on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And since I've expanded StreamYard, I can stream to... We are actually streaming to 6 different locations right now. 6.
Nice.
6 different locations. Also, a big hello to the people around the world who are downloading our show from Australia to Saudi Arabia to Russia. The Russians heard we were talking about Trump, and they needed to know what was going on. So we're now getting downloads in Russia.
So,
oh, damn.
Right?
We were subversive there.
I don't know. It's not a lot of downloads in Russia, so I'm not too worried about it. It's probably just Putin.
Yeah.
Just Putin. Hi, Vlad. How's it going?
Up, Vlad?
How's it going? How's it going, buddy?
Jack, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, dude.
Yeah, thank you everybody for downloading and listening wherever you are across the world. We do appreciate that you're part of the community here. All right, let's wrap this thing up.
Let's leave the hustle and bustle for small town news.
All right, this comes to us from North Pole, New York. Santa's Workshop gets the go-ahead to reopen. That's right, it looks like the 71st season of Santa's Workshop theme park will roll out the elves and reindeer after it just received the green light from state officials. The Christmas attraction didn't have a regular summer opening this year due to COVID-19, but winter is a go! General Manager Matthew Stanley said Santa's Workshop normally starts its holiday season 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, but that may be delayed a little this year, saying, "We can be open under safety plans for our entire business. It's just filling out the low-risk entertainment portion of the state guidelines and we're good to go." Workshop officials had been unsure of authorization for reopening and were waiting for the signal from the state. Pretty exciting, huh?
Woohoo!
Yeah, there's going to be limited walkabouts. Stanley praised the work of the North Country Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Gary Douglas, who's been working on getting permission for Santa's Workshop to reopen for the holiday season, saying, "I've obtained state guidance that should allow them to finalize a compliant plan and do what they wish to do. There's a pending safety plan before the state to do safe, limited walkabouts." Douglas has been in touch with the governor's office to get directions. Douglas pulled all the right strings, Stanley said. "We're working on a timeline right now. Our gift shop is open now." Thank God the gift shop's open. It's probably going to be closer to Thanksgiving when we actually open. He said they've done a lot of hiring and training to do before they reopen. Santa's Workshop normally employs about 144 full and part-time workers for the holiday season, and they have just 6 employees right now, but we're getting stuff buttoned back up. Santa's Workshop in North Pole, New York, a hamlet in the town of Wilmington, is an amusement park in operation since 1949. It was one of the first theme parks in the United States. It's located off the Whiteface Memorial Highway, normally open from July to December, but it couldn't open, of course, because of coronavirus. It's one of the most special and historic attractions in the state and the country. That was from an email. Their planned walkabout activity through the park during the holidays would clearly help to salvage at least part of this year's operation. So, excited? Santa's Workshop opening up?
Woohoo!
Can't wait.
Would you like to know my memories of Santa's Workshop?
Sure.
So Santa's Workshop, always advertised on TV, and a very young Nate was very excited to go there. Probably, I would say 5, 6, somewhere in that neighborhood. We lived about a 4.5-hour drive from Santa's Workshop, the next state over. Here's the other thing. This is literally all I remember. A very young Nate got very car sick. Very young Nate threw up in the back seat of the car. I remember nothing about Santa's Workshop. I just remember being very sick on the drive over and throwing up in the car.
Poor fella.
And of course, this is pre-car seats, so I was like standing up or laying on the floor in the back and throwing up. And, yeah. Good times.
What kind of car did your folks have?
Oh, God. At that point in time, I believe they had a Plymouth Fury. I believe.
But Plymouth, that works.
Yeah, it was like a Plymouth, like a early 7. They never had a new car until I was a little bit older. But yeah, it was. I remember the carpet in the back was brown. That's all I remember. My parents loved brown cars. I don't know why.
Because they had a kid that threw up in them.
No, well, they had the. Yeah, I didn't throw up that often. One time I fell out the back seat. That's before they had the child safety locks.
I thought I was the only person that did that.
Oh no, that's why they put the child safety locks in.
Wait, out of the car? You fell out of the car?
Yeah, they were only going like 30. It was fine.
Yeah, I did it going around the. So we lived down a lane. So my sister-in-law was turning. She took that corner real fast, and I went rolling like I was in chips.
Yeah. When you're a kid, you roll and bounce. That's what happens.
Yeah, I fell out of my dad's car.
Oh man,
Brian, have you fallen out of a car?
I
yeah,
guess.
my dad's truck. My dad's truck.
I need to be on the show. You guys open up and broaden my experiences on life. I don't know these things happen to real people, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So clearly, Brian not falling out of a car.
No, look, Brian. Here's the thing: we used to do the craziest shit on the back of trucks, and we never fell out. But we would fall out of a car on a simple turn.
Right, right. With the corner floor and everything. Yeah. Crazy.
All right. Well, on that note, the three of us who've fallen out of a car will join you again next week for another episode of the WTH podcast. You're welcome for those child safety locks, everybody. We're taking credit right here.
That's it.
Be good to each other. Don't be an asshole. And, I think next week there's going to be more politics to talk about.
I got a feeling that
we are going to be about 2 weeks away from the election, and it's entirely possible I will have voted by then. So there you go.
Me too.
Yeah. So anyway, be good. We'll see you next time. Shout out to all the podcasts who are recording here at Darling New Media. The All Eyes on Us podcast, the Smitty and Keith, who was here just before us tonight. They've episode number 2 for Smitty and Keith. So they're here. The Prison Post podcast, the Crazy Classy Colored podcast, a look behind the curtain with David Nelson. There's a bunch more too. So, hey, come on in. We've got podcasts. We do podcasts here. We're here to help you tell your story. So. Visit us today at darlingnewmedia.com. Get hooked up if you're in the Sacramento area. And that's it. Brian, Sushi Brian, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for us. So we will see you next time. I got to do this so it sounds right. It'll look right. Here we go. Darling New Media, here to help you tell your story.